It's a 2 versus 7 seed here live on New Canaan Athletics. The New Canaan Rams playing host to the CIAC quarterfinal matchup with the Staples Wreckers. The New Canaan Seniors' last game on Dunning, looking to come out on top, advance to the semifinals, where the winner of this game has a meeting with Wilton. For New Canaan, it would be the third time playing them. For the Wreckers, it would be the second time. But here, we'll start with today. Myself, John Frieders, joined alongside Kate Kupchak. And Kate, 7 of the 8 remaining teams right now, all FCIAC teams. The only team that's not an FCIAC team is Conard. And we have a big matchup here between New Canaan and Staples. New Canaan took care of business the last time these two teams met.
Yeah, I think it should be good to see. I mean, New Canaan, Staples, both FCIAC teams, so it'll be interesting.
It should be interesting. The last time these two teams met, New Canaan came out on top 17-5. That game was in Staples, so the first time these two teams meeting here on New Canaan home ground. New Canaan comes off a dominant win against Newington, 21-2. Kate, you were on the call for that one. All-around performance for this New Canaan offense and a lot of momentum coming into this game.
Yeah, it should be good to see. There's some confidence on their backs right now. I mean, that was a brutal show for the New Canaan Rams. I mean, they just put it away. So it'll be interesting to see if they put it away again. I mean, this is an FCIAC team, so it should be a little bit different.
As for the Wreckers, coming off a dominant win over Glastonbury, coming out on top 17-5. And, in that first round, it was all dominance from the higher seeds. Those higher seeds won all 7 first-round games. The only team that didn't play was Darien because they had the first round bye. And the average score of all 7 of those games, 18-3 in favor of the higher seed. The total score was 125-23, thanks to Mr. Brown and his mathematics over here. But talk about that. It was all chalk in the first round. We'll see if we get a couple upsets here in the quarterfinals, and we'll see if we can get maybe a team that wasn't expected to punch a ticket to the semifinals in the semifinals. First draw, just moments away. Talbot in for the Wreckers, a freshman. A lot of freshmen playing for both of these teams. New Canaan comes away with the draw ball and immediately finds a stick of Patton, who feeds off to Sissia down low in this New Canaan Rams offense. Of course, the balanced attack. Goal leaders Patton, Rowe, Pinkernell, all above 40 goals this season. Patton reigns king, 47 goals on the year. She's been a key part of this New Canaan offense every year she's played, but especially this year, stepping up for the Rams. Settling things down, back down below the cage, far side, now up top. Top Sissia working, shot by Sissia, and scores! New Canaan finds the back of the net early, up 1-0, just 43 seconds into this one.
I mean, that's good to see in the first minute, already getting a goal off the bat. That kind of gives them a good confidence and momentum to keep on going. I know in other past games, when the first team scores, that's usually the team to keep that momentum for that period. So we'll see.
Important for the Wreckers to kind of weather this storm early on, although it is the first New Canaan goals. When New Canaan scores, they often score in bunches. You definitely don't want to get down early, especially in this state game where you're playing away. You want to kind of settle things in, ease things into the game, as well as ease your goalkeeper into the game in net. For the Wreckers here tonight, Daisy Chung, the senior, so a veteran goalie, but you want to ease her into a game, get her comfortable, as well as New Canaan with Patterson. Another ball up in the air on the draw. New Canaan comes away with it. This time it's Pinkernell. Pinkernell switching, spinning, then has the ball checked free. And speaking of girls in the draw control for New Canaan, Pinkernell second on the list. In terms of draw wins, 35 on the year, only behind Patton by 1. Pinkernell really took that step up this season, the Colgate commit. But a lot more balls in the back of the net, also spread the ball around, but became a strong scoring option for this New Canaan team here inside. Shot and score! Patton puts it away. Rams up 2-0. Sydney Patton, her 48th goal on the season. My apologies, that was Riley Schloffman. Never mind, that was Patton. Patton able to put the ball in the back of the net. As I said, 48th goal on the season. Draw looming. New Canaan's won the first two. Staples trying to win one, move into the offensive zone. They haven't found any time in the offensive zone here today so far. They do win the draw, need to pick up the ground ball, scooped by Hackett, then feeds off into the zone to Tiber. And Tiber feeds down low. Ball on the stick of Chloe Smith. Smith reached the 100-point career mark last game. Had a couple goals, couple assists, but what a mark that is, reaching the 100-point mark as just a sophomore. This ball is dribbling out of bounds. We'll see, it will go off the leg of Hackett. So New Canaan gaining possession.
Seems like there might be some nerves on the Staples offense. I mean, this is their first chance, so they kind of really need to keep that ball, but...
Far side, Civarelli pushed to the ground. New Canaan will retain possession. So getting a bit physical. And, Kate, one thing we haven't touched on, the temperatures outside. It feels like an oven here inside the press box. It feels like an oven outside. Over 80 degrees. Definitely important to stay hydrated, but also figure out a way to just continue sub off, sub in. Shot saved by Chung. It was a shot from Rowe right in front.
Yeah, I think one way to battle the heat is kind of limiting those transitions across the field like we're seeing right now. I mean, those changes in play kind of make you run more, and it's a little bit much with the heat.
Watkins dishes the ball off to Best. Best, one of the up-and-coming stars in Fairfield County. Shot and scores. Tiber erases the 0 for the Wreckers on the scorebook. Tiber able to put the Wreckers on the board. First goal of the day. Makes it 2-1 with 8:53 remaining in this first period. And Smith picks up the assist. As you mentioned, newest member of the 100-point club. The sophomore Smith picks up an assist, shot and score by Tiber. 8:53 remaining in this first quarter. Side. Draw being fought for. Talbot still remains in. Pinkernell comes away. Ball on the ground, up for grabs. Pinkernell picks up the ground ball, moving the Rams into the offensive zone, settling things down, passes it over to Patton, who feeds to Sissia. Down at X is Celebrity. Eyeing around. Lex to roll, feeds to Patton. Patton will be granted an 8-meter mark from the far side with a decent angle. We'll probably see Patton work her way inside knife, try to put the Rams up, put the ball in the back of the net. These are opportunities you have to take advantage of. Patton inside has the ball checked free. Looked like it might have been saved too as well by Chung.
Good pickup by Patton to regain possession for the Rams as well.
Good job by the Wreckers defense. Able to stop the Rams offense, but Rowe with the beautiful shot far side, and she scores.
Nice little dodge there by Rowe too. Seems like a pretty goal.
Rowe with the beautiful shot. The Columbia commit, one of the more experienced players on this New Canaan team, found a pocket to shoot, took it, and scored. No great vision by Rowe, just take it herself after Patton had gotten stopped on the 8-meter mark, right? Elected to just shoot from a little bit farther out, able to beat Chung.
That was a great crash by the Wreckers on that free position as well.
Yeah, although the Rams are up 3-1 right now, that's definitely something you can take away defensively, right? If you're head coach Nicole Gerosa, you can take away something like that as a little bit of momentum when you call it your next timeout to take a break. Rams win another draw, move into the offensive zone, settling things down once again. 7.5 remaining in this first quarter. Up top is Patton. Looking right to left, feeds Rowe. Dumps it to Shu. Shu coming around Cradle, looking for a pass inside. Finds Pinkernell, whose shot is saved by Chung. Now Patton working inside. And she'll be gifted another 8-meter mark, this time more towards the top of the key.
Definitely a better angle for Patton. She might have to run it in a little bit less, which I think will be good with this crash.
She shoots and scores. Patton on the 8-meter mark makes it 4-1 New Canaan. 6:45 remaining in this first quarter. Kate, you're right. Better positioning for Patton, and interesting to see her same approach, right? Take it in a little bit deeper, knife it in, shot and score.
Mm-hmm. I think that shot was great too because it was off the side of the stick. I remember a few of them have been shooting right on her stick side, and I think that's been easier for the keeper to save. But I think on that one, she just got the right angle and the right shot, and just it worked out.
The 4-star committed to play college lacrosse at the University of Pennsylvania next spring. She'll arrive in the fall, of course. She's super excited, but New Canaan trying to go back-to-back in state championships. They couldn't do it in the CIAC championship, falling to Wilton, but an opportunity for revenge in that next round if they can take care of business today. And that next game will be held at Rafferty Stadium. Same with the championship, so neutral site for the next couple teams, and everyone raves about Rafferty Stadium. I've never been there personally, but everyone talks about how nice of a field it is. And that's kind of the end goal for both of these teams, right? Make it there. Of course, the Wreckers only have one state championship appearance, which was in 2010. Looking to get back there for the second time. They lost that state championship to Fairfield Ludlow 15-9. New Canaan spreading the ball around. Looking for a pick far side. That was Shu, who will be granted an 8-meter mark from the far side, the same spot Patton was stuffed the first time. Shu far side, working away inside. Her shot saved by Chung. Bounces right back to the Wrecker Blue. Now in transition, it's Talbot coming, roaring down far side, knifing away across, looking for a pass. Elects to settle things down, pressured. Feeds it to Kanesh. Taken by Tiber. Tiber up top. Over to Hackett. Hackett shot saved by Patterson. And she'll be granted an 8-meter mark. It's all about the 8-meter marks here today, right, Kate? Both teams getting opportunities early on.
It's a bit of a tougher angle, though. She's got her right hand, and on the right side, might be tough to get in there with the Rams defense.
And they elect to just dump it out, feed it. Now ball in the stick up top of Morris. Morris working her way across, feeds it to Tiber. Far side is Hackett. The Wreckers just continually moving the ball around, looking for Cutter. Shot and scores. How about that? Chloe Smith takes it herself. 2 points on the day. Chloe Smith proving why she is one to watch.
Yeah, that was a great shot, but also a surprising shot for the Rams defense. I think they're talking about communicating a little bit more. I mean, Jimsky got to that crash. He got that crease, but, I mean, she still snuck it in somehow.
Yeah, and you saw Patterson, playing a little bit out of her crease, almost playing as sort of an extra defender, of course, protecting the net at the same time. And smart shot by Chloe Smith, put it on net kind of at a time where New Canaan didn't expect it. And that's how you're going to beat a better team in the CIAC, like a New Canaan, a Darien, or a Wilton. You're going to have to take shots like that kind of catch the defense off guard. The Wreckers with a bit of momentum, winning the draw once again.
Bit of frustration building for the Rams as you see that little push right there.
See just patient Rutgers offense, definitely on that most recent offensive possession, and I think part of the problem for their first start was just not having possession of the ball, right, Kate? Saw New Canaan win a couple of draws time and time again and just continually wearing out that Rutgers defense. But when they get the ball into the offensive zone, you know, they can work with it. Hackett out far will be granted a 12-meter mark. That's actually an 8-meter mark for Hackett. Hackett near side. Her shot right away, saved by Patterson. Ball bounces high. And possession will stay with the Rutgers. Ground ball scooped up by Kanesh. Well, Rutgers offense loses control. Ground ball scooped up by Jimsky.
Good defense by Celebrity right there, putting on some pressure, which kind of forced that bad pass.
Smart defense by the Rams. You see Patterson walking out with the ball in her stick. The 5-star off to play at Notre Dame, the top goalie in the class of 2025. Also, I think the 3rd overall ranked recruit, too, as well. Highly touted, but more importantly, she's a really great teammate. She's a 3-sport varsity athlete. Kate, you play with her on the soccer team, plays basketball in the winter, and just amazing how she balances all three. The shot wide left of the cage.
Yeah, 3-sport athlete and 3-sport captain, which I kind of think shows that leadership, which is super important as a lacrosse goalie.
Yeah, and you can see it. Although it is definitely a younger defense, she's always a vocal presence, able to kind of lead direction in terms of where she kind of wants the defense in front of her to stand, and such a good tool to use as a coach too as well. Great defense by the Wreckers. Ground ball scooped up by Morris. A little bit of pushing and shoving. Ball stays with the Wreckers. Hackett coming across the middle, feeds to Best. Best ball in her stick on her left hand was checked free. We'll see what they mark. See, I believe it will be an 8-meter mark for Best, who's just a freshman. But, Kate, we were talking about it before. She's already making headlines as a freshman. Tough to do in Fairfield County, especially in girls lacrosse.
Yeah, there's lots of key players. I mean, Best, I think, is one of them for the Wreckers. And then we've got Patton running the ball right now, always great at transition.
Talk about transition games. Feeds up. Beautiful pass to Pinkernell, who puts it right in the back of the net. Schloffman to Pinkernell. Rams up 5-2.
Yeah, that was a great team transition right there. I think you can kind of see their chemistry as well as their momentum building. But, I mean, it is all about possession. So when the Wreckers have possession, they look pretty dangerous. So we'll have to see who wins this next draw.
Yeah, and you saw just beautiful transition game. You were talking about it. Great pass from Patton. Good vision all the way up. And then even more impressive, just the easy feed from Schloffman, the freshman, who's taking a big step up, filling a couple of the holes lost, from the girls who graduated, but also from Maddie Tully, who lost her entire season at the beginning of the year once she found out she tore her ACL, a heartbreaking injury for any senior athlete to overcome. Luckily, she has 4 more years of lacrosse at Cornell. She'll be joining her sisters. But Schloffman, we talked about it, a couple key freshmen for this new Canaan team stepping up this year. Near side, Best feeds down behind the cage. Staples settling things down. Finally have possession. Once again, shot by Smith. Wide left of Patterson.
Yeah, another shot out of nowhere almost, kind of catching the Rams defense off guard on that one, but luckily just went a little bit wide.
Ball up top in the stick of Tiber. Tiber passes to the middle. Good defensive pressure from New Canaan, forcing DeWitt to retreat back up top. Far side, Best switches hands. Cradling in her left. Beautiful feed inside. Shot and scores. Best to Hackett. Now just a 2-goal lead and 12.8 seconds left on the clock.
That was another great team goal. I mean, I love those goals. I love when there's a nice, pretty assist into a great shot, and I think the Wreckers showed that right there, so we'll see.
And Kate, there hasn't been a lot of defense in this first quarter. 8 combined goals between the two teams. Beautiful pass there on that side. We saw a beautiful pass for New Canaan. Definitely an offensive first quarter between these two teams. One more draw. Ball being fought for. Good ground ball scoop by Shu, who then loses it. Chloe Smith far side fighting. Ball over to Patton. And that will do it. First quarter in the books. Rams up 5-3 here on New Canaan Athletics. And we'll see you back here for the second quarter of action in just a few moments. Five to 3 here at the start of the second quarter, live on New Canaan Athletics. Myself, John Frieders, Kate Kupchak to my right, taking you through this game. And what a high-scoring first quarter we saw, Kate. 8 combined goals between the two teams, and inside the draw circle determined a lot of kind of who was able to score. Very possession-heavy first quarter for New Canaan.
Yeah, the Rams have possession again, so I mean, I think they kind of need to shut down any momentum Staples had in that first period. I mean, you see it. Momentum shifts immediately when you win the draw.
Rams offense just remaining patient. Of course, they scored their first goal 43 seconds into this game, hopped out to an early lead. The Wreckers able to mount a couple goals, recover, but they're going to still need a bit more offense and a lot more defense. Both of these teams needing more defense. Talking about Wrecker defense, good save by Chung in goal. New Canaan resets, cycling the ball around.
Good patience by the Rams here.
Janiga to Sisia. Up top is Shu. Pinkernell, the Colgate commit, moving to her left. Then feeds to Rowe up top. Good cut in the middle by Janiga. Dumping it back to Pinkernell. New Canaan trying everything right now. And Patton will draw an 8-meter mark. An opportunity for the Rams to get this offense back up and going in this second quarter.
Decent angle for Patton here too, so hopefully she can put this one away.
Patton at the top of the key, working away inside. Shot and scores. The first of the second quarter. New Canaan up by 3 now, 10-20 remaining in this second quarter.
Yeah, that's a good start for New Canaan here. I mean, we'll see if they can keep it up, but seems like both sides defensively need a little bit of work. As you can see on the Rams side, defense is already talking. Seems like they've got to figure out some communication issues from that first quarter.
When inside that draw circle, right, both of these teams really split 50-50. I'd say New Canaan has the advantage by maybe 1, maybe 2. But on that offensive side for the Wreckers, they've shown that they're able to move the ball around very nicely. Look for Cutters, able to put the ball in the back of the net. Of course, we talked about Maeve Best coming in. Chloe Smith, the 100-point, or the sole 100-point girl club for Staples. You know, she has a goal and an assist. But there's definitely a lot of weapons on this Wrecker offense, and New Canaan's defense needs to tighten things up. Near side, Tiber dumps it off. Up top working is Morris. Feeds back to Tiber. Tiber coming around, and she'll draw an 8-meter mark. Smart play by Tiber, right? Go into the middle, try to get a couple sticks up near the face. Draw an 8-meter mark from the top of the key.
It's the best angle you can get as well.
Tiber an opportunity. Her shot fired on net, saved by Patterson. New Canaan immediately heads to the transition game. Civarelli to Patton. Patton using her speed to dust her defender, feed off to Rowe, who then gets a stick near her hands.
Great dodge there by Rowe. You're seeing those strategic free positions. I mean, they're looking for the shooting space on both sides of the field.
Both teams doing a good job drawing 8-meter marks, making it tough for the goalies. Rowe, her shot saved by Chung. Chung and Patterson both having decent games in net. Of course, they've allowed a bunch of goals, but when they've been tasked to make one-on-one saves, they've done a really good job.
I mean, 2 senior keepers, lots of experience there, but I mean, looks like a pretty even game from this point. I mean, both of basically the same thing happened on both sides right there.
Far side, Watkins going out, running. She's met with a couple of checks. Watkins using her speed to get a step or two on her defenders. See, once again, Wrecker's offense spreading out, right? Allowing some space, good spacing. You're going to look for Cutters across the middle. Coming down, coming across the cage. Just moving the ball around. Very patient in the stick of Best. Best coming across. Beautiful pass inside. Shot and scores.
Looks like some high-pressure defense from the Rams just didn't work out on that one. She took that 1v1 and kind of made a little bit of space, and looks like she just put it away there.
That was a really good job by Best. Her you saw that was really smart play by Best, right? Drawing a couple defenders, bring them up higher, and then pass down low. And that was Talbot who was able to put the ball in the back of the net. A freshman, really smart, high IQ lacrosse play right there.
Yeah, it seems like Patterson wasn't too happy after that goal, so hopefully they can shut it down this time as Staples gets possession. Oh.
Wreckers win the draw, ball checked free from the stick of Tiber. Ball still bouncing, picked up by Best. Wreckers back into the offensive zone. A cutting across is Talbot once again. A cutting Talbot receives the pass, snipes top left corner. And Talbot with 2 goals in a matter of seconds.
I mean, you see that speed, that explosiveness. You can just put it away off the cut pretty easily. But, I mean, Rams defense talking over there, clearly getting a little bit frustrated.
And that was a really smart play by the Wreckers offense to attack the Rams defense before they could get set, right? You're coming down in transition. You have Talbot making the smart cut across the middle of the field. And once again, it just able to catch this New Canaan defense off guard. You know, looking at this second quarter, the Wreckers offense had a really good conversation in between quarters as they figured things out.
Yeah, that was right after another goal as well, so they were pretty vulnerable at that time.
Right in transition, pass up. Schloffman just not able to hold on. Chung comes away with it, getting a bit aggressive. Rowe on the ride, comes up, forcing a turnover. She's got it by herself. Checked from behind. She gets the ball back, feeds to her teammate. Rams back in the offensive zone. 7-10 remaining in this second quarter, and the scoring is not slowed down, Kate.
No. Seems like the Rutgers defense has stepped it up a little bit. Their communication seems a bit better with those checks. I mean, they've been able to shut the Rams down a few times now.
Rowe up top, surveying, looking for a pass, feeds to her senior counterpart in Patton. Patton coming across. She shoots and scores.
Great little change up. It seems like almost a play by the Rams. They all cleared out, gave Patton some space, and when Patton has space, she can put it away. That's what we've seen over and over again. So good goal for the Rams.
And that was a really smart shot and really smart placement, right? Bottom right corner, non-stick side. That's a tough save for any goalie to make, really. Well, the only way you can stop that is maybe a kick save if you're able to shift your stick down quick enough. But even then, really smart placement by Patton on the bounce shot. 7-5 Rams.
That's a tough goal to save for sure.
Pinkernell remains in the draw circle for the Rams. And for the Wreckers is Best. Ball on the ground, ground ball being fought for, and they'll give possession to the Wreckers. Wreckers trying to bring it within one once again.
Yeah, energy gaining on the sidelines as well for the Wreckers. Seems like this is pretty exciting being in this close of a score to the Rams.
Coming around is Smith. Her shot high of the cage. Turned and burned. Possession will go to New Canaan.
Seems like that was a little bit of an unsafe shot there. I know when it's thrown like that, kind of without a certain angle on that, I mean, you could hit anyone in the head, and that usually gets called off.
Definitely have to be careful. Of course, most people know in girls lacrosse, you don't have the full helmet, you don't have gloves, so there's definitely a couple more rules put in place. Coming down New Canaan, moving in transition. Ball up high in the stick of Patton, who has New Canaan's most recent goal. She has a matchup with number 14, Morris.
Yeah, Rams are man up right now, too, so you can see in some of their plays, they've been kind of trying to get that isolation of those two players, and maybe one can pop out and score.
They have a bunch of time, too, on the man-up. 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining on this man-up opportunity for the Rams. Coming inside, shot, and scores.
Yeah, this is when you want to get your goals, when you have that man-up opportunity, especially since the Rutgers defense has kind of stepped it up a bit. It's time to get some goals.
Shu doing a good job, able to draw the 8-meter mark and then convert. Both of these teams that haven't been tracking the amount of 8-meter marks for both of these teams, but we're near double digits right now, Kate. Both teams really smart in the way that they're able to draw these 8-meter marks, and they've definitely been converting at a high rate as well.
Yeah, I think that's part of the strategy. I mean, I've seen a lot of them kind of do that little stutter step or that dodge right in front just to draw that shooting space. And, I mean, it's worked out a lot of the time for both teams.
Opportunity for the Wreckers to get the ball back. Best not able to come away with it, but they'll call a violation on New Canaan, so Best will pick up the ball. An opportunity for the Wreckers to clear the final minute of the man-down unit. So big opportunity, 5:15 remaining. Just over 50 seconds left on this man-up opportunity for New Canaan.
Yeah, the Rams definitely want to win it back right now. I mean, there's no use in the man-up if Staples has the ball, so they're definitely looking to get possession back.
This is all about ball movement. It'll be interesting. Staples being a bit aggressive, but just continuing moving the ball. Of course, New Canaan has an extra defender.
It seems like they're running the backer right now. Number 3 for Rams, Skylar Strupp. Seems like she's the backer right now, just following them around, using that man-up advantage.
Rutgers just going to hold the ball as the man-up time bleeds for the Rams. Now just 10 seconds remaining. Safe to say, I think. Also, you have to keep in mind the person in the box is Chloe Smith for the Rutgers, one of their big offensive pieces. So you definitely don't want to attack. She comes off and she immediately runs onto the field. So Rutgers ready to get back into their offense, attacking. She immediately moves down below the cage, an option for Bess. Bess with the favorable matchup coming across her pass to Smith. And that will be another 8-meter mark for Best.
Looks like Lucy Detmer got a bit of a check on that one, giving them another free position, which is kind of what they've been looking for, it seems.
Best near side, 8-meter mark, knifing her way inside, shot, and Patterson comes up with the save. I believe that was a body save, just good positioning by Patterson, and New Canaan immediately into their transition game. Detmer, the freshman, feeds to Pinkernell. Pinkernell down below the cage. New Canaan continuing trying to extend this lead to more than 3.
I think New Canaan's gotten better at using their players for what they're really good at. I mean, Lucy Detmer, just similar to Patton, great at transition with that speed. And then we got Pinkernell at the bottom, just great at feeding and putting it in.
Rowe feeds to Shu. Shu coming across. She's looking for something, didn't see it, pulled out. Up top, Rowe. Rowe switching hands. Looking to fire. Of course, she had that shot and goal a bit earlier in that first quarter. Then a missed pass attempted for Patton. Rutgers come up with the ball. It's Best, the freshman, coming across the middle of the field. Spreading. Pass over to Tiber. An 8-meter mark for the Rutgers, catching the New Canaan defense before they could get set.
Yeah, these 8 meters are getting out of hand. I mean, both teams have gone a record number of 8 meters, and they've been using them. So we'll see if she can put this one away.
Up top, Tiber. Her shot saved by Patterson. Rebound, second save by Patterson. How about that? Back-to-back saves. The rebound popped free to Talbot. Talbot, 2 goals on the day already. Patterson comes up with a second save. You're thanking your keeper in between the break for that one. Then the shot and score by Rowe. But they will call it off. The violation, the foul happened before she shot the ball.
Great double save by Patterson, just demonstrating her athleticism there, though.
Rowe near side. Her shot. Bouncer towards the same direction that Patton was aiming, just far right of the cage by maybe a couple inches. Rams settle things down once again, though. They retain possession, just a minute and 15 seconds. It'll be interesting their approach, if they're going to hold for the last shot or if they're going to attack and go back to the draw circle. And Schlafman, her shot saved once again by Chung.
Good pickup again by Schlafman, letting the Rams kind of move it around again, be a little patient, and then look for another opportunity to score.
Back once again, Schlafman, the freshman down below the cage, operating in the trenches.
Seems like a bit of stalling by the Rams here.
40 seconds remain in this first half. Rams up 8-5. And no need to move the ball unless you're pressured. Riley feeds to Rowe. Rowe, favorable matchup. Pass inside. Directed towards Shu. On the chase is Moore. And Moore gets to the ball before it goes out of bounds. Schlafman down low.
Good idea by Rowe there, but it seems like the Rutgers defense has figured it out a little bit. Lots of high pressure on them.
Cutter in the middle for New Canaan. Not able to complete the pass. Ball picked up by Chung, and that'll do it for the first half. We saw a bit better defense towards the end of the first half. A couple big saves by both goalies. Your final score at the end of half one, 8-5 New Canaan on top. We'll be back here on New Canaan Athletics for the second half of action in just a few minutes. The second quarter of action is finished. First half in the books. New Canaan on top 8-5 at the end of the first half. Big second half coming up. A spot in the state semifinals on the line. The Wreckers holding toe-to-toe with the 2 seed in the tournament. New Canaan the 2 seed. And the Wreckers the 3 seed. Ball draw control won by New Canaan. Ball immediately finds the stick of Rowe. But Kate, possession so important in that first half.
Yeah, I mean, every time the possession switched, the momentum switched, I think once we saw the Wreckers finally gain possession of the ball and win some draws, they immediately got their name on the scoreboard. So I think that's really what it is. It's a possession game here.
And once they got some momentum, too, as well, that offense just began firing off shots, and you saw Chung get comfortable in net for the Wreckers, too, as well. Their ability to just spread the ball, move the ball around, and saw a couple times they tried to pressure Best, and she was able to feed the ball down to a cutter who put it right in the back of the net. Talbot also as well, multi-goal game for her, and Smith, of course, we've talked a little bit about her, has multi-points as well.
Yeah, I think it's been a great offensive game by both sides, but I think we also have seen some great performances by both keepers. Patterson and Chung have made some really key saves for both teams, especially on those free positions, which we've seen many of.
Patton push to the outside, feeds to Rowe, who gives it right back. Right behind the cage, the Rams operating now below the goal line. Up top is Shu. Far side Rowe switches to her left hand, back to her right. Good cutter in the middle. But Janaga's pushed to the outside. You see the Wreckers defense getting a bit aggressive, getting a bit physical. Trying to will this team back into this game. Of course, 3 goals, not a lot of cushion for this Rams team right now.
Yeah, they're definitely looking for some shots, but you also don't want to lose possession here. So, I mean, patience is really key.
Another thing we haven't talked much about in the second half, but we talked about it time and time again. 8-meter marks. Shu will have the first one between the two teams in this second half. Far side. Good angle for a righty. Her shot and scores. Bouncer pings the top left corner. Phoebe Shu puts the Rams up by 4.
Yeah, that's a great strategic shot by Shu right there with that bounce shot. Makes it really tough to save because you don't really know where it's going to bounce to next. I think Chung's had some great saves, but she's been offered a few easy ones, so I think that one kind of puts her in a tougher position to save that.
Shu gets to the 8-meter line, able to convert, and talk a little bit about shot placement. The New Canaan Rams shot placement today has been fantastic, and Shu tallying another great one, just top left corner, really almost unsavable as a goalie.
Yeah, that was a great save. Great shot by Shu, and I mean, we've seen some great saves by Chung, but that's a tough one to get.
Up top, fighting for the ball, Pinkernell. The Wreckers not able to scoop the ground ball. Instead, Sissia picks up the ball, feeds to Rowe, who once again settles this Rams offense in the offensive end. Moving the ball back down low, below the goal cage. And a missed pass being fought for. Right in the mix was Best. Crowley comes up with it, the USC commit. One of the only returning defensemen for this New Canaan team, if not actually the only returning defenseman, was appointed as one of the 4 senior captains, and she's had a very solid season too as well, a 4-star commit.
Yeah, it's difficult to do, especially with a new kind of group on the defense. Chemistry is key for the defensive end and the offensive end, but especially with the defense. So I think Patterson and Crowley have really helped them kind of get used to it and settle in.
Row below the cage. Looking for a pass across the middle. Good defense by the Wreckers, preventing any cutters to slip their defenders. Good defense once again. Falling down. Shot and scores. And that was Sydney Patton falling down, being what looked like almost pushed from behind. She somehow puts it in the back of the net.
I mean, those goals are even sweeter. It kind of shows the perseverance Sydney Patton has shown all season with these ups and downs. I mean, even when getting pushed down, she can still kind of make that shot and score.
Now, what a grit and grind type of goal right there, being pushed. Very physical, aggressive Rutgers defense in this second half. And, Patton going to work, being okay with that extra physicality, able to give the Rams their second consecutive goal, now up 10-5. And the Rams have won every single draw in this second half so far. They've been dominant as Crowley carries the ball in for the Rams, immediately dumping it off. And Shu enters the offensive zone at the same time. Row far side. Shu to Sisia. Below the cage, far side once again. And Rams offense cycling the ball around. 7:45 remaining in this third quarter. Still, just opening this second half.
Looks like we're starting to see some substitutions for the Rams as well. Looks like number 8, Chandler Wagner, coming in. I think she's only a freshman, so that's good to see some younger players getting reps.
Pass in the middle to a cutting Pinkernell, just misses wide right. In that New Canaan end zone, see the Rams just doing a good job settling things down. We've definitely seen them operate in transition a few times here today, but the Rams offense has never been, a transition type of offense. It's been a settle things down, look for the right shot and find your right opportunity. Ball bouncing. New Canaan able to retain possession.
Good defense by Jimsky right there, and a great hold by Phoebe Shu. I mean, that's a strategic play, letting her run in and keep that momentum going.
Near side is Wagner. Wagner coming across after she feeds the ball back, and up top is Rowe. Near side, Shu. Shu being pressured, forced to get rid of the ball, and she'll be granted an 8-meter mark. Shu an awkward angle, but opportunity to come across. She comes across, and another bouncer winds up in the back of the net for the Rams. This time, Shu. Rams on top by 6.
Yeah, Shu's demonstrated a great job, I think, especially in those 8-meter marks. I mean, she has that bounce shot, and she runs it in, which I know Coach Woods always instructs the Rams offense to kind of run it in first, get through that crash, and then put it away instead of kind of winding up and just taking that shot from the 8.
Really smart play by Shu, and we talked a little bit about it, but that 8-meter mark, New Canaan has really dominated this third quarter. Their ability to not just win the draw controls, but then move into the offensive zone, draw those 8-meter marks, and they haven't really turned the ball over as well, although the Rutgers defense has been aggressive. Good job by New Canaan to protect the ball. And Kate, how did the Rutgers get back into this? Of course, halfway through this third quarter right now, they have to figure out a way to stop the bleeding. 3 consecutive goals by the Rams.
Yeah, I think this right here starts it off for them. I mean, all they need is possession. They need to win those draws. Their defense has been strong, but, I mean, the Rams definitely have a lot more confidence coming into this second half.
5:45 remaining in this third quarter. I mean, 8-meter mark opportunity for the Wreckers. Cutting inside. Good save by Patterson once again as she's able to scoop the ground ball, then immediately feed out to Patton, who likes to get out and run, which is exactly what she's doing. Patton to Rowe. Rams in transition. Feed Pinkernell. Shot and scores.
Another great team goal for the Rams. Sydney Patton on that transition with a quick feed to Emma Rowe. What do we got going? Oh, timeout.
A timeout by head coach Nicole Gerosa. And, you know, if you ever watch a New Canaan Rams practice, they do that little 3-person weave, right, where it's we're just practicing consistently completing the pass, keeping your eyes up, and weaving in and the ability to kind of know where you're supposed to be in transition. And that was beautifully executed right there by New Canaan. Their ability to just move the ball around, kind of treat it as a hot potato, and almost a tic-tac-toe play where just tic-tac and toe right to the back of the net.
Yeah, I mean, it's those three key players we've seen time and time again. I think Sydney Patton with that quick transition, using her speed, then Emma Rowe with her great stick skills, just feeding it off to Pinkernell, who's right on that left side per usual with her left hand and can really just kind of dodge and put it away pretty easily.
Pinkernell in the right spot and talked about it, but the Wreckers just called the timeout, Kate, and you talked about, kind of gaining possession for the Wreckers, how important that's going to be. You're now down by 7. Of course, this game has changed a little bit. You were down by 3 at the end of the first half, giving up a couple of goals, and, the offensive spell kind of has, or the well has run dry for the Wreckers right now, and their defense has collapsed a few times, but also we have to keep in mind the heat factor right now. Super hot outside. The Wreckers defense has been out, being forced to play defense for this third quarter. And how do you get back into this game with all those things in mind?
I think especially with the heat, the Wreckers defense really just needs to slow things down. I think we've seen a lot of goals for the Rams off those 8-meter marks and off that fast break weave. I think the best thing they can do is just kind of slow it down, make them get it to X and move it around, and then look for that pick or that mess up and then just attack on it. I think we've seen some really great physicality by the Wreckers defense, which I think they should keep that up. But, I mean, again, draws are key. They need to kind of win these draws and get possession, and so maybe then they can get back into the game.
Will be Tiber in the draw circle for the Wreckers up against Pinkernell. Pinkernell continuing to just win draw after draw, and coming into this season, New Canaan was trying to figure out who was going to be in the draw circle, and Pinkernell has emerged. Patton has come along, and Rowe has also taken a couple, but Pinkernell really having a breakout junior year when New Canaan needed it most, and there's going to be a lot of momentum for this Rams team heading into next year. Of course, looking to win a state championship after last year's team, and last year's team, one of the better teams in New Canaan high school history with, the things that they accomplished. Devin Russell was an All-American who's making impact at Boston College as a freshman. Also Lexi Tully, who's playing at Cornell, and all those defensive players too as well. And New Canaan almost had to reset coming into this year.
Yeah, they definitely lost a lot of key defensive players. A few that come to mind: Reagan Quinn, Izzy Apelt, Temma Wagner. I mean, looks like we got a goal for Riley Schlafman.
The freshman for the Rams puts the ball right in the back of the net. Beautiful shot by Schlafman. Rams up by 8.
Schlafman's really kind of come into her own this season, I think. I mean, she's also been on the draw circle a few times with Pinkernell, and I mean, they both have their strengths.
Schlafman, one of the emerging younger pieces for this New Canaan team, and it's always tough to come in as a varsity athlete, as a freshman, and kind of earn your stripes, if you will say. And on the boys' side, Gray Wildman coming in. People talked a little bit about him, but not sure anyone expected him to be as good. And Riley Schlafman, kind of another person who comes to mind, talking about freshmen who have really made an impact. She has had a really good season this year, and there's going to be a lot to build with, of course, because she has 3 more years.
Yeah, I think it might have helped too as well, because she was already a freshman on varsity for soccer, and I mean, her and her sister kind of came into their own as well in soccer season, and I think that kind of helps as well, having varsity experience just in being on the team and the practices and the intensity of it. But she's really come into her own this lacrosse season, so it's great to see.
And you know what coaches always say, Kate, right? You can't coach experience. You just have to kind of go out there, and that's definitely one thing we've seen from this New Canaan team. It's not typical for a New Canaan team to have 6 losses, but this New Canaan team definitely faced their early season struggles, had few struggles kind of figuring out their offense, also figuring out their defense, which definitely was expected as the shot goes wide, and just kind of figuring out their pieces. But they get to a point right now where they're really firing on all cylinders coming into the postseason, which is what every coach could want, you know, playing your best when it matters most. Once again, another shot wide right of the cage. Canaan continues to just take shots in the offensive zone. No possession shots. Of course, there is no shot clock either as well, so New Canaan can just continually cycle the ball around and force this Rutgers defense to stay out on the field. Coming around the cage, pass by Janiga to Pinkernell. Goes off the stick. Picked up by the Wreckers. Possession will move to the blue. Coming across the field is Morris. Morris, eyes up, looking for a pass. Able to cradle between a few defenders. Coming around, switches back to her left. Ball checked from the back by Shu. The Wreckers get the ball back, settling things down. Really their first offensive possession of this second half. An opportunity to get some offensive momentum as Hackett's on the near side.
That was some great stick handling by Morris right there. I think we owe a lot of this possession of the Wreckers to her. She kind of got through multiple defenders and that strong New Canaan ride that we see time and time again.
Morris feeds to Tiber. Tiber coming across, dumps it to Talbot. Talbot back to Tiber. Tiber switching hands. Feeds to Morris. Morris turns, passes to Tiber, who going to call it will be a 12-meter mark. Bit far to try and kind of wiggle your way inside if you're Morris, but tell she's got options. Two girls to her right. She also has Hackett to her left. Feeds it, ball in the stick of Best. Back down low to Smith. Smith tiptoe in the crease. Coming around the right side, looking across. Her shot, saved by Patterson. Textbook save. Trying to go 5-hole was Smith. And Patterson denies her shot. Near side, Civarelli able to clear the ball across midfield, then dump it to Schloffman. Beautiful pass inside, leaving her crease after the ball went off the stick of a New Canaan player was Chung. Scooping the ground ball, settling things down. Now the Wreckers once again have to get it across midfield. The stick of Morris once again surrounded by white jerseys. Switching hands with Sissia on her hip. Morris just working through a few defenders. Impressive stick handling skills.
Yeah, Morris with her speed as well. Even with all that heat, I mean, she's kind of like wearing down those Rams attackers on that ride. Kind of exactly what you want to do to keep possession.
Definitely something to watch. 12.4 seconds remaining, possession in the hands of the Wreckers. Top Morris, far side is Best. Best likes that left hand of hers. The ball's checked free from her stick. Will be an 8-meter mark from the far side.
Not an ideal angle for Beth, but with that left hand, she might be able to cut across. She's got the inside stick, so let's see.
Best, her shot looked like she was checked from behind, fires well above the crease, or well above the head of Patterson, above the cage. And that'll do it for the third quarter of action. New Canaan heads into the fourth with an 8-goal lead. We'll be back here on New Canaan Athletics for the fourth quarter of action. Rutgers trying to get back to the state semifinals. Same with the Rams. The Rutgers down 5-13 right now. Dominant third quarter for New Canaan. Kate, talk to me about that third quarter. It seemed like New Canaan's offense really found its groove.
Yeah, I mean, the Rams have been basically unstoppable on the draw, which I think has kind of led to much of their goals. But, I mean, on that fast break, they kind of have it figured out. Seems like a lot of goals have been off that and the 8-meter mark, but the Rams have just been dominating the Rutgers at this point.
Pinkernell feeds to Rowe. Rowe enters the zone once again for New Canaan. And New Canaan, you talked about it, just every single draw seemed like it ended up in the stick of a New Canaan player in that third quarter, whereas, that first two quarters, the Rutgers, it was about 50-50 in terms of draw controls. New Canaan and Staples going back and forth until New Canaan found another gear in this game.
Yeah, I think it's all about momentum. The more possession you have, the more confidence you build. And once you start getting those goals, it seems like it's almost easier to score the next one. The defense is more vulnerable, and the offense is just kind of moving through it. I think it'd be nice to see some Rutgers momentum gains in this last quarter, but the Rams have been pretty dominant, so we'll see if they get any chances.
Up top is Sissia. A lot of motion from this New Canaan offense. You see it a lot of times, a lot of cutters, and you even see at times, offense clearing out for someone like Rowe or Patton to take it themselves on one side. But oftentimes it's been an entire team effort this year. No one player has been dominant for New Canaan. You have a couple of girls who have contributed more than others in terms of the scoring sheet, but it's been an entire team effort from this whole offense. Pass inside by Shu, saved by Chung. Chung dishes to Watkins. Watkins coming across, cradling in her right hand. Right side still has possession. Able to feed it to Smith as the Rutgers enter. Shot saved by Patterson. The shot put on cage by Tiber. And Tiber's had a few shots, and Patterson's been at the doorstep this past quarter and change.
I mean, that was a great, powerful shot by Tiber. She had a lot of momentum, and that speed, just cutting right down the middle, that's a tough shot to save. So all credit to Patterson. I mean, great speed and just a great save on that one.
Rams back in the offensive zone, and see here, I think that they'll definitely slow down the pace of this game, lengthen out these possessions, up by 8. No need to rush things. Patton coming across, beautiful dodge, but pushed back, forced to retreat. Rowe far side, dodges past her defender, shot saved by Chung. Ball high in the air, scooped by Patton. Patton at the 20, at the 15. Pass inside, cutting Rowe, shot wide right of Chung.
Good little combinations there between Patton and Rowe. I mean, you've seen it all season. Those two love to combine. And right there, I mean, Chung's had a great performance right in this moment here. She's gotten 2 saves almost back to back.
Far side, New Canaan operating. It's Pinkernell feeding to Janiga. Janiga coming across, her shot, and scores. Janiga doing a good job just taking it herself, coming around the crease. Notice that it really wasn't a matchup for her. Able to put it bottom right. New Canaan's loving that bottom right corner here today.
Yeah, that's a great low shot, and also it seems like she got it almost off stick side. So that was a great little crease roll by Janiga. I mean, it's good to see her name on the scoreboard once again. She was out for a while in the beginning of the season with a back injury, I think, which, I mean, all those injuries, it's tough to beat for New Canaan.
Yeah, Janiga, you're right, Kate. She had surgery earlier this year, was out for most of the offseason, and then came back around that Wilton time where they were kind of just working her back in. Coach Woods, would play her for a couple minutes and just slowly increase the amount of time that she was playing. But that was another injury added to the list. Of course, they lost Maddie Tully. They'd lost Janiga at that point, and then all the girls who graduated last year. So definitely interesting to see, the kind of the progression of this new Canaan team. And I think that might have been a good thing, although, of course, no injury is always good, and we're glad Janica has recovered. But in terms of a team kind of in learning early on, I think it was good that New Canaan was missing a couple pieces because it forced them to play as a team, right? And it forces you to be unselfish. It forces you to really play for that team goal instead of course, looking for those goals, taking those shots, and moving the ball around.
Seems like they've been building their chemistry as well as kind of their skills as a team over the season. I think they're really peaking right now in postseason, which is great to see because, now it matters. You lose one game, you're out for good. And I think right now the seniors and the rest of the team, you don't want to get out. You don't want to lose the rest of your season.
There's always that pressure, right? Of course, like you mentioned, Kate, you only have one life. There is no second game. So you have to always stay on your toes. Rowe puts another one in the back of the net. First person to hug her is Patton, too, as well. Talk about a dynamic duo right there. Rowe tallies another on the day, 15-5. Rams on top by 10.
Yeah, Patton and Rowe, that dynamic duo. We've seen them over and over again just get that feed, that shot. Seems like they're usually in pairs when one of them scores. And I mean, that's that senior dynamic as well. I mean, they want it most. You have one game, you could lose, and then you're done for the season, done for your high school career. So, this could be the last time they're playing together, so I think it's really important to the two of them.
Yeah, and in New Canaan, I think the coaches do a really good job of just really telling their teams to focus on the game at hand, like never looking towards that next game, never really looking towards who you're going to play. I know for me and covering some of these teams, Kate, right, like there's times where you ask a player who they would play if they were to win, and they don't have an answer, right, because it's always about this game. It's about the game that's going to be played, focusing in winning that game, and that's one thing that New Canaan coaches do a really good job of, and it helps you in the postseason because you're just focused on that one game.
Yeah, I think that emphasis on the present also helps the grit during the games. They've been pushed down a few times, but they're always getting back up, sometimes even getting a goal off of that. So it's good to see the New Canaan teams kind of continue that momentum without even focusing on the next few games.
Hackett feeds to Morris. Morris up high, being pressured by Patton. Morris dumps it over to Best. Feeds down below the goal line is Smith. Rutgers offense just moving the ball around, and now I think it's all about just, having a good end to this game, and unfortunately for the Rutgers, maybe this season, unless they can put 10 on the board in the remaining 5 minutes. I think that's very unlikely, but it would be good for just Staples to end things out the right way here, able to get a couple goals and end on a positive note.
Yeah, definitely. A 10-point lead, that's hard to compete against, but, we've seen the Rutgers get clusters of goals once they get that momentum, so we'll have to see if they can kind of start that off.
12-meter mark fed off to Best. The Rutgers just moving the ball around, looking for cutters inside, but this Rams defense has done a pretty good job, although they haven't had to play much defense. Shot inside by a cutting Best, putting it right past Patterson, and Best is going to be a name you want to watch out for if you're covering girls lacrosse the next 3 years, because Best is definitely not slowing down for this Rutgers team.
Yeah, that was a great lefty quick stick shot. That's tough to save. Even for Patterson, that just coming out of nowhere. Again, the Rutgers just playing off that, catching the defense and keeper off guard. It's hard to compete against.
Really good job with Best and her high IQ coming across, and so sometimes that off-ball movement just as important as the on-ball movement. A smart cut by Best results in another one now, just a 9-goal lead for the Rams. Draw one by the Wreckers, brought in by Talbot. Talbot coming across, feeding to Smith. Smith with the matchup, cutting. A shot in, scored by Kaskowski. Riley Kaskowski puts it right past Patterson. Another cut, and this Rutgers team has been dominant with the motion.
Yeah, I mean, there's that momentum coming in, goal after goal. Kind of the best point to catch the defense off guard is right after you scored a great first goal. And, I mean, Patterson talking to the whole team right there, the midfield as well, kind of trying to lock everyone back in and continue that fight.
And that's where the Wreckers have been dominant today, right? In transition, not allowing this New Canaan team to get set. And then also, you mentioned the word clusters, and the Wreckers have scored a few goals in clusters. You know, it's been 2 or 3 goals in the span of, 2 or 3 minutes, right? Where it's just goal after goal, able to ride the momentum off a goal, win the draw, move back into the offensive zone, and get a couple good shots on Patterson.
Yeah, the Rams as well, I think. In that second quarter especially, it was just kind of back and forth. Few goals for the Rams, few goals for the Wreckers. So we'll see if it switches back to the Rams now.
Schloffman scoops the ground ball far side. Feeds off to Crowley as she enters the zone. Crowley in deep. She'll feed, then get back past the restraining line. Schloffman to Rowe, and so where New Canaan's going to extend their offensive possession. You don't want to give the Wreckers the ball back. You don't want them to get possession. They're just going to settle things down, and, of course, no shot clock. So if they wanted to and if they weren't pressured by the Wreckers, there really is no need to pass the ball or shoot the ball as well.
Yeah, it seems like a bit of the stalling from the Rams again, just waiting for that pressure at X.
See New Canaan just content with holding this ball behind the cage. It's Pinkernell with the ball in her stick. You see Talbot kind of trying to figure out, looking around. And then she does elect to take a couple steps and pressure. The shot went off the pipe. New Canaan fighting to keep the ball in. They're going to call a push on the Wreckers. So possession will stay with New Canaan, but even something like that takes 30 to 45 seconds off the clock. And that's the whole goal of what New Canaan was trying to do right there.
Now some patient ball movement by the Rams again, just trying to keep possession here and moving it back to X.
Schloffman down low, feeds to Janiga. Looking ahead, New Canaan has a third meeting with Wilton. Wilton's won both of those meetings. The first one was an 8-7 loss. New Canaan, Wilton able to come out on top, and then Wilton beat New Canaan in the FCIAC semifinal 9-8. So an opportunity for New Canaan to get revenge over the Warriors in the state semifinal. New Canaan's going to have to play their best game if they want to beat the Warriors, and then a possibility to meet up with arch rival Darien in the championship. Not to look too far ahead, but that semifinal will be Tuesday at Rafferty Field on the campus of Fairfield Prep, and that's going to be a big game for New Canaan. Of course, whenever you're playing an FCIAC team, it's going to be difficult. Look at the start to this game, New Canaan, and the fight that the Wreckers showed here today I don't think reflects in the 15-7 score. But it's going to be difficult for New Canaan coming across. The shot and score by Janiga with no one guarding her.
Yeah, I mean, FCIAC teams, they kind of display that fight. And, I mean, they know New Canaan. The Wreckers know New Canaan. And New Canaan knows their upcoming competitors. And, I mean, it's going to be a tough fight no matter what. But Wilton, not unrealistic for them. I mean, close game on both games they've played. Unfortunately, they lost, but only a 1 point difference for both. I think it's not unrealistic. The Rams could come out with the win.
One word you mentioned there, familiarity, and I think that goes a long way with all these FCIAC teams. Of course, 7 of the 8 teams in the quarterfinals were from the FCIAC. All these girls know each other. Most of these girls have played together on club teams or outside of the season, and then they come, and most of them are friends too as well, and you see it in all the sports that overlap, like all the soccer girls hang out with each other. And when it comes to competition here during the school season, it gets really competitive, and all these girls know each other's weaknesses, kind of know the points to attack. So it's always something interesting to watch these rivalry matchups between New Canaan, Darien, Staples, Wilton, Richfield, all 5 towns who are really within a 15-mile radius of each other because they all know each other and they all face off, a couple times a year.
Yeah, you can tell that they know each other as well by those, man marks. You even see certain players getting kind of completely shut down by these teams. I know in Wilton there was a few man marks, and Greenwich as well. I think that's kind of one of the biggest things is that these teams really know each other. They know their strengths, they know their weaknesses, and it's always a good game when 2 FCIAC teams compete.
New Canaan will run out the clock. Ball passed by Janiga to her teammate in Schloffman. That'll do it. New Canaan has officially punched their ticket to the CIAC semifinals, a meeting with Wilton on the horizon. And hey, the New Canaan seniors win their last home game here at Dunning, so congratulations to all the seniors. Pretty nice way to go out. The Rams take down Staples 16-7. As for the Wreckers, that'll be it for their season. Really good season. They went 10-6 this year, and they're going to look to continue building a lot of young talent on the Staples Wreckers team. So definitely could be a force in the FCIAC for not just next year, but the years to come with all the girls that we talked about here today. As for New Canaan, we've mentioned it. Tuesday is their next game at Fairfield Prep against Wilton. And a big game for New Canaan, trying to go back-to-back state champions, which is always difficult to do. 1 is tough, but 2 is that much more difficult. And before we go, I want to thank all you viewers for watching here on New Canaan Athletics. Kate, it was a very fun game calling with you here today. And that'll do it. We'll see you next time here on New Canaan Athletics.